Hey guys, welcome back to Games of War. It's been forever since I've done a pickup video, and I've gotten a lot of cool stuff recently and in the past couple of months. Almost a year since my last pickup video, which is, I promise you guys, it's not going to be that long again in between, because I love talking about new games that have come out or past games that I've found on the cheap, and just, hearing the comments from you guys, seeing what you picked up. So I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching. Alright guys, we'll start things off go oldest to latest. So my son Zach, who I talk about all the time on here, I'm going to have to get him on for an episode because he hasn't been on him forever and he's got a lot to say. His knowledge far exceeds his 15 years of life, and especially in video games. He's got the knowledge of somebody that's been there since the early days, so I'll get him on for an episode. He's a huge NES guy, loves collecting for it, and we've gotten to the point where we're not going to pay eBay prices anymore. And thanks to a local flea market, shout out to my boys at the Dixieland Flea Market, Kevin, Andy. They run a great shop. They're right in the smack dab in the center of the flea market. And they hook us up, and we do a lot of business there. So for box games for the NES lately, we've picked up, first up, this is Tecmo Super Bowl, one of the very few sports games that I actually really enjoy. I played a ton of this when I was a kid. We found a real nice mint copy of Super Mario 3. And if you notice, once again, videogameboxprotectors.com if you want to get some nice boxes to hold your games, keep them mint. Next up, we've got Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. A really cool game on the NES for sure. I was really happy to get these. These are just minty fresh versions of Contra and Metroid, complete with everything inside there. These are some of my favorite games on the system, and I'm really nice. It's really nice, rather, to have them in this kind of complete condition. Everything in the box, very nice. Next up, we picked up Double Dragon 1 and 2, some great arcade brawlers, real nice to have these in the box. Some of my favorites on the system, once again. And this is Mario Brothers. I'm sure you've seen this a million times, but I haven't come across this nice condition copy in this original black box in quite some time, so when I saw this for a great price, I had to pick this up. Mega Man 2 and 4, a couple of great entries in the long-running series on the NES. Had to pick these up for a great price. Great to have these in the box. And then finally, RC Pro-Am. This is one of my favorite early racing games in the system. A lot of fun, and I enjoyed the later games, not done by Rare, but like Rock and Roll Racing and RPM Racing before it. But I love the style of this, like three-quarter down view racing game. Tons of fun on the NES. And I've got another stack of games here for the Nintendo. These are loose carts. Normally, I don't buy loose carts. I can't stand it. If I gotta have it, I've gotta have the complete copy. But these are just so expensive that it's just not happening. First one is Super C. And we've got one of my favorites. This is Metal Storm. This is a great game. Mighty Final Fight. I'm a huge fan of the Final Fight series. I can't believe how expensive this game has gotten. It's crazy. One of my personal favorites. This is Legendary Wings. What a great classic game by Capcom on the Nintendo. Another great game, Journey to Silius. This is a really cool game. Graphically really impressive for the system. Happy to have a copy. Honestly, all in all, we've been able to build up a pretty nice box NES collection and some loose carts for a relatively good price just by keeping it local, going to flea markets. There's another place called Second and Charles that has a lot of great games. So, big shout out to those guys at the flea market. Couldn't have done it without you. So moving on to my 16-bit console of choice, the Sega Genesis. Everything in this complete in box. Got to go that way for the Genesis. And the Genesis is a system that I've got pretty much everything that I want for it. So anytime I see something out and about that's something I wanted, no filler, no point in wasting time on fluff, I'll pick it up, as the case with here, RoboCop vs. Terminator. Super violent game. It's a good game. It plays well. Some of the controls and platforming a little off, but overall fun factor, good game. Love RoboCop, love Terminator. Next up, one of my favorite shooters in the system. Finally got a copy of Hellfire. Been after this one for quite some time. An excellent shooter, great difficulty. Love the shooters in the Genesis. This one is no exception. Next up is Vapor Trail. This completes my renovation lineup of shooters. I can't believe how expensive this game's gotten. The Genesis is finally starting to go up in price. I've noticed like Mega Turrican, other games just getting super expensive on eBay. Vapor Trail's a great game, great two-player action. I love me some shooters in the Genesis. Next up is Socket, and this is definitely like a failed mascot, kind of like a Sonic clone. He runs fast as hell, but this one's actually highly playable. It looks great, very colorful on the Genesis, and quite fun to play. I enjoy Socket quite a bit. A very unique game for the Genesis. This is Haunting starring Poltergeist, and I swear Electronic Arts was on fire back in these early days in the Genesis. The Strike series, Road Rash, Skitchin', just goes on and on. Haunting is a great game where you scare the residents of a house, and Really cool reactions and great animation. Good looking game. I love Haunting. And finally, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And this is one of the first games that I got for the Genesis when I was a kid. I loved it back then. Replaying it now, it's kind of shallow in a sense where there's not, deep gameplay to it, but as a novelty and got some catchy music, it's still a fun game to this day. Man, last one on the Genesis, almost forgot this one. How could I forget this one? This is Rollo. This is a really under-talked about, underappreciated platformer. This game is just like cute as a button. You play as little animals. Main character is Rollo, and you rescue little animal friends along the way, and you can take control of his friends. All have different abilities, like the beaver can swim, the rabbit can jump really high, to solve these like puzzle-filled platforming stages. I played a lot with this with my dad. My dad just fell in love with this game, which is totally strange. Who would have figured? He always liked the Jungle Strike games and Desert Strike games. He's a Vietnam vet, so he's all into that. But he just fell in love with this one, and I had a great time playing it with him. A really nice platformer on the Genesis. My lone pickup for the Sega CD, which is in kind of the same situation as the Genesis, I've pretty much got every game for the Sega CD that I want, that I had growing up. The Sega CD is top of my list of favorite systems of all time, so if there's a game out there, I have it, because I love the system that much. I'm just a Sega CD freak, which is crazy because nobody likes the system really. This is Flashback, and Flashback was an interesting game because this came out first on the Genesis, and I remember all the hype for this game. They called it the first CD-ROM game in a cartridge, which is strange considering here the game is on a CD. But the game first came out on Genesis, and it was doing a lot of revolutionary stuff. I guess it fit the tagline, the first CD-ROM game in a cartridge, because the animation and just the graphics, it was kind of like almost next gen at the time, but a great experience. Has it held up? If you like those style of games, kind of like Prince of Persia or Out of This World, where you kind of have a restricted movement, it's kind of choppy. You have to jump up and grab onto ledges and slow down and time your jumps right. And the Sega CD version is my favorite due to the music. It's got excellent music that's absent from a lot of other versions. It's got the cinemas that are in the 3DO version and the computer game, but the Sega CD will always be my favorite version due to the music and the cinemas, and just, I really like Flashback. I think it's a great game, and I think it's aged very well in my opinion. Excellent game. If you don't have this one, it's available on every system. I prefer the Sega CD, like I said, but if you don't have it, check it out. Moving on to the Super Nintendo. Now, the Super Nintendo as a system I have a lot of love for, and the problem with it is that it was my secondary system back in the 16-bit days, meaning that I played Genesis first. I enjoyed Genesis the most, and I got rid of all my stuff for the Super Nintendo back in the day, traded it in foolishly, so going back and collecting for this system over the years is quite tricky because it's so frigging expensive to get stuff complete in box. Now, the games that truly mean something to me, like ActRaiser and Shadowrun and games like that, I have complete in box. But when I'm buying games out and about for the Super Nintendo, I'll accept the loose cart because it's just gotten so expensive that if I'm going to piece together a collection, it's going to have to be, piece by piece, slowly at a time. I'm not going to pay eBay prices. Super Nintendo is just insane. I love the console, though. So here we have Firepower 2000. This is a great game for two players. One player controls the helicopter and one's on the ground in like a tank vehicle. It's a shooter. It's a lot of fun. Great looking game. Great playability. Good explosions. A lot of fun to play with two players. Next up is Super Turrican. I'm a huge fan of the Turrican games. I think they are great looking games. Good music. Lots of fun to play. Big levels to explore. If you like Contra games or run-and-gun shooters, then you're going to love the Turrican games. Super Turrican is probably second to Mega Turrican in my opinion. I like Mega Turrican a little more. But great games. I'd love to get the second one sometime. Here we have Demon's Crest. One of my favorites on the system. I remember picking this up back in the day. Got it. I paid, I think, $75 for it from Toys R Us. Took it home and just loved this game. I'm not quite sure what happened. I went away to school and it was just gone. And my parents must have gone through a box and sold it or something. But I loved this game. And, a few years back, I saw the prices climbing and climbing and climbing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to have to get it because it's not going to get any cheaper. So, unfortunately, card only. I'd love to get a box for this one, but, Demon's Crest, great platformer. Next up is Sparkster. And Rocket Knight Adventures and Sparkster is an interesting series because the first one came out in the Genesis, which I still think is the best, and the following games never quite lived up to that brilliant first game. I think Sparkster on the Super Nintendo is a little bit better than the Genesis version, but not by much, but neither compare to the original Rocket Knight Adventures. What a masterpiece. And finally we have Evo Search for Eden, and this is one of those magical games that like ActRaiser, just kind of put the Super Nintendo ahead of the Genesis for very short periods of time when I was a kid. I loved ActRaiser. I rented the game constantly until I finally bought it. And same with Evo. I would rent this game constantly from the video store, and there was nothing else like it at the time. And still to this day, there really isn't any other game like this. I mean, sure, there's a few out there probably, but none that I've played on consoles that feature going from a fish to a amphibian to eventually walking on the ground. Just an amazing game, great music. I love this game to death. Moving on to the Sony PlayStation, I got some good games here that I picked up recently. First up is Circuit Breakers, and Circuit Breakers is a great game for anybody that's into like the Micro Machines kind of games. Top down, kind of like little RC car racing game. You can use boats in this and vehicles. The track design is awesome with lots of tracks that go like straight up and then lift off and straight down. Great track design, tons of fun. A great game for like RC fans for sure. Next up is Vanguard Bandits. This is an excellent strategy RPG from Working Designs, and one of the few Working Designs games that I was still missing. I ran into this at local Second and Charles. They wanted a very cheap price for it, so I had to pick it up. Working Designs is all over this game, from the excellent translation to the great cinemas. I'm a big fan of Working Designs, obviously, and this is a great strategy RPG to have on the PlayStation 1. The original Clock Tower and Silent Hill. Clock Tower is a great game series that's kind of misunderstood in terms of it's a point and click. The first couple of games are, and for people that have played like the Clock Tower 3 or Haunting Ground, the successor, and you think, oh, these are like kind of Resident Evil style games. Then you go back to the originals and they're point and click, and very atmospheric. I thought they were very scary. I'm a big fan of the first Clock Tower. I think it's a great game. Very happy to have it. And Silent Hill, once again, another game that kind of got lost in a move. I think I moved a couple years back and checked the boxes and it wasn't where I put it, so I don't know what happened to it. So really happy to have the first one again for a good price. From the makers of Twisted Metal, this is Critical Depth, and just think like a car combat game like Twisted Metal but underwater, with different submersibles and submarines and all kinds of kick-ass weaponry. This is a great game. If you like Twisted Metal and you want to try Twisted Metal underwater, look no further. Critical Depth is great. Next up, we have the Sega Saturn, and this is very much like the Sega CD and Genesis. I've pretty much got every game that I've, grew up playing or I'm into, but I had to pick these up, and I'm a big fan of Lobotomy. They were a company that was working magic on the Sega Saturn, proving the naysayers wrong. The Saturn couldn't do 3D, was a perception that a lot of people had back in the day. Well, Lobotomy came out, took their time, built an engine from the ground up, and pretty much put the PlayStation, and some say 64 versions, to shame with Duke Nukem 3D, and then their original game, Power Slave. And Power Slave to this day is extremely impressive on the Saturn. It runs very smoothly, 30 frames per second. The graphic engine holds up very well. If you want to see some impressive 3D for back in 94, 95, 96, then take a look at Power Slave on the Saturn. Just an amazing game. A few games for the Dreamcast. This is Draconis Cult of the Worm. I was a huge fan of Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage, so I was looking for the next hack and slash game to kind of tide me over after I had finished Berserk multiple times, got everything I could out of it. Draconis is a pretty big game. It's kind of got like an early PC feel to it, where you run around and swing wildly. There's no real combos, but it's just hitting the R button to just slash over and over again. Okay voice acting, pretty good locations. I enjoyed it, even though it had kind of an unfinished feel to it a little bit, but still a really good game. Record of Lodoss War is a Diablo-style game on the Dreamcast that I really enjoyed. I remember playing this a ton with friends back in the day on the Dreamcast, and just a really nice addition to the system. I think this was one of the later releases, if I'm not mistaken, but some great stuff. Not too long ago, I found a copy of Seaman that was factory sealed. It still had like the Meyer price tag of like $9.99 on clearance, so I had to pick this up. This was a curiosity when the Dreamcast was out. I picked it up, and I thought it was the strangest thing I'd ever played. The more I played it, the more it grew on me. I thought it was a really interesting experiment. Not really a game per se, but a virtual pet simulator kind of. And rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. He just passed away recently. He provided the voice for Seaman. Flogan Brothers was an interesting game. This is, if you notice, it says Flogan Brothers Episode 1. This was like intended to have multiple parts and multiple episodes. It's a really nice puzzle platformer where you play as one of the brothers, and then an AI controlled, his other brother follows along, and that AI is kind of like shaped and molded by the actions you make in the game. Really unique concept for the time. It's too bad it didn't sell well. All future installments were canceled, obviously. But a really nice platform on the Dreamcast for sure. Moving on to the GameCube and PS2, original Xbox, very much like the Sega collections, it's like maxed out. I've got every game that I really am after for the Xbox. But I did manage to find a copy of Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg on the GameCube, and this was by Sonic Team. I didn't play this back when it came out. I always, had it in the back of my mind to pick this up, but I never found a copy. I just never got around to it. But I'm looking forward to playing this game. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And I came across a copy of Odama. This is a really strange mashup of a pinball game with real-time strategy elements. It comes with a microphone that you hook onto your GameCube controller and shout commands to your troops to do things on screen, and they do. A really cool pinball mashup strategy game. Cool stuff. The final game on the GameCube is Fire Emblem. This is Path of Radiance, and this was the final game that I needed for my Fire Emblem collection on consoles, and I'm so happy I found it because this is starting to get up there in price too. I absolutely love the Fire Emblem games. Path of Radiance is an excellent entry in the series and a fantastic strategy RPG game. Definitely check it out. The other day I was thinking back to an RPG that I played on the PS2 that I loved the game, and I know a couple more games came out for it, but I couldn't remember what it was. I remember that the battle system had like a ring, and it kind of spun around, not Grandia, but it was like a judgment ring, and it stopped at certain points to attack. And it dawned on me it's Shadow Hearts, and I didn't have the game, and I really wanted to go back and play the first one again because I played the first one and finished it when it came out. I never did pick up the sequel or the third game. So at the flea market the other day, I ran into a copy of Shadow Hearts, Shadow Hearts Covenant, and then the third game, which I never knew existed, was Shadow Hearts from the New World. I cannot wait to... I might play the first one for a little bit and just get a refresher. I'm sure once I play it, it'll come back to me. And then go ahead and dig into the second and third games because I really enjoyed the first one. A really underrated RPG series and really dark themes and overtones to it. So Shadow Hearts series is excellent on the PS2. PS3 and 360 obviously is winding down. I didn't pick up anything on the 360. PS3 has still got RPGs coming out for it that I'm really interested in. First one is the Awakened Fate Ultimatum. This is the collector's edition that was exclusive to the NAS store. That's kind of a common theme. A lot of these RPGs, guys, check the stores. Check the Square Enix store, check the NAS store, because a lot of times that's where they're available at only. I really enjoyed the Guided Fate Paradox, so I'm really looking forward to playing the Awakened Fate Ultimatum. A while back, I picked up The Witch and the Hundred Knight. Sadly, I didn't get the collector's edition on this. I really wanted to. I forgot about it and it passed, so I didn't get it. But this is an excellent action RPG. I'm really enjoying this one. Fairy Fencer F. This is an RPG that I haven't played yet. We'll be getting to it pretty soon. I'm happy to have it. I've done some research on it, and it seems like my kind of game. Same with Arno Surge. Just recently picked up this and Fairy Fencer F, so I'll be getting to these games pretty soon. But from what I've researched on and what I've read, this seems like my kind of game as well. Finally, we've got Magus. This game is one of those that files under it's so bad it's good. Hilarious voice acting. Gameplay is pretty solid though, man. I mean, for the horrible reviews this thing's getting, I think this is going to be kind of one of those cult games like Deadly Premonition. In my opinion, I think it's that bad, it's that good, and definitely check it out if you're into like budget games and want to laugh. Next up is Drakengard 3. This was available on the Square Enix site only. This is an excellent game. I know the reviews have been kind of mediocre, but I'm a huge fan of the Drakengard games and Nier. And for me, this one, the dialogue was just so over the top. I laughed many times. Hack and slash done right, bloody as hell, and very visceral in the language. This is a really nice special edition. It comes with a novel and some really a nice poster. I just love the packaging in this. And here are the two limited editions for the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Big fan of these games on the PS2, so I'm really happy to have these nice sets here. On to the PS4 and Xbox One. Sadly, I haven't got anything for the Xbox One since Sunset Overdrive and Halo Master Chief Edition, and I covered those in my Xbox One collection. PS4, the only new game that I've gotten is Final Fantasy Type 0, and this is still sealed. I'll be getting to this pretty soon. Looking forward to it. I did play the Japanese copy of the PSP game, and from what I played, I really enjoyed, although I couldn't read anything. But gameplay seemed pretty good, so I'm really looking forward to playing this one. On the Wii U, I picked up Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. Treasure Tracker is more of the same from the Mario games, the little mini games with Toad. puzzle solving, rotate the camera around in all different kinds of ways, and solve pretty easy puzzles. It's a pretty fun game. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, it's not quite as good as I remember Canvas Curse on the DS. Part of the problem is it's such a beautiful game, but you can't look at it because you're on the gamepad playing away, and it looks really good on the TV. Sadly to say, it's kind of a disappointment. It's still a really fun game, and yeah, I think it's worth it, but I was expecting more. Moving on to handheld gaming, which has become a big part of my gaming recently in the past year or so. I've been majorly playing a lot of handheld games. I've always been a handheld gamer, but these past year, months, I've just really been into playing handheld games. So on the Game Boy Advance, first up, we have F-Zero GP Legend. And this is another F-Zero game in the style of the Super Nintendo Mode 7. You know the drill, F-Zero, great racing game. This is a fantastic entry, lots of great tracks, good stuff. Rayman Advance, a very colorful platformer. This was originally on the PlayStation, I think back in the day, Jaguar, all the systems, but a great colorful platformer. Looks great on the Game Boy Advance. Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Color. Pinball game, Pokemon, Game Boy Color, good stuff. This is Iridian 3D. Really pushes the Game Boy Advance to its limits in terms of a shooter and what can be done graphically on the system. Amazing looking for the time, and still holds up well to this day. Looks fantastic. Super happy to have found these in such mint condition. I never see these games complete looking this nice. This is Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Ages. Fantastic entries in the Game Boy. These look amazing, and I'm glad to have these in nice box, minty, fresh condition. Fire Emblem games, both of these on the Game Boy Advance. These were actually a birthday present from my wife, so big shout out to her. I love you, Denny. Excellent strategy RPGs in the Game Boy Advance, and I had these when the system was in its prime, and ended up trading them in for some stupid reason, but it was my goal to go ahead and finish and complete the Fire Emblem series. So I love these games, glad to have them in nice, complete condition. And this was the final Game Boy, not Game Boy, final Castlevania entry on the handhelds that I needed. I didn't have Circle of the Moon. I played it when it first came out, but I had the original Game Boy Advance, and it was so dark I couldn't really see it. So I ended up trading it in. So I'm really happy to have this again. This completes the Castlevania handheld trilogy and collection, so this is a great entry when you can see it. For the original DS, I picked up a few games here. Once again, I'm pretty much at the limit of what I need for the system. To pick up anything else would just be filler, and that's not what I do. First up is Insecticide. I saw this in an advertisement at the back of the Dementium instruction booklet, and it kind of advertised itself as like a graphic novel mixed with an action game. And that's kind of what this is. I know the graphic novel sections are done by like the early guys that did the early PC visual novel stuff, so it's very well written. Excellent characters. It's all like bug themed, so everything is named around like bugs and stuff, but awesome characters. The action sequences aren't quite as strong as the visual novel parts, but a very cool combination and concept. Next up is Lost in Blue, and this is one of the games that I got early on in the DS life. I really enjoyed this one. I know to some people it might be kind of tedious with the constant hunger and thirst and micromanagement of this girl. She's retarded. You have to hold her hand and walk her to water and do everything but cup your hands to make her drink. But I've got all three of them, and something about this series just really captivates me. There's not really much else like it, so I didn't have the first one. I traded it in a long time ago, and I was able to find the first two at GameStops throughout the years, and I never did find the first one again, so I'm really happy to have this again. Touch Detective. This is another one that I really enjoyed. A visual novel, graphic novel, kind of solving things, solving cases, solving puzzles. Touch Detective has got kind of a Tim Burton feel to it, with some really devious puzzles and really cool characters and atmosphere. If you're into like Phoenix Wright or Professor Layton and other visual novel style games, definitely check out the Touch Detective games. There's Touch Detective and Touch Detective 2.5, so great stuff. And this is Little Red Riding Hood Zombie BBQ, and I never owned this game, and I was only through word of mouth, other people talking so highly of it, that I had to give it a chance, and it kind of reminds me of Tokyo Beatdown, not in the gameplay sense, but in the campy, just pure awesomeness of it all. So Tokyo Beatdown, I recommend that game highly, but Little Red Riding Hood Zombie Barbecue is another fantastic game on the DS, and great presentation, great graphics. This is a really fun game, must own for sure. The 3DS, I've gotten quite a bit of stuff recently. First and foremost, I got the Majora's Mask Edition new 3DS. Is the new 3DS worth it? Absolutely. If you are a fan of the 3D, the face tracking 3D is virtually flawless. It allows you to experience 3D games the way they should have been from the very beginning without any of the annoying breakup, slash annoyance. The C-Stick works great, faster processing, can't wait to play the new Xenoblade. Very happy to have this edition. I know a lot of my friends' systems were getting canceled left and right on them. Mine held through to the end and I ended up getting it, so really happy to have the new system. I also got the Majora's Mask Collector's Edition. I liked this game on the 64. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I did enjoy it, so I was happy to see it get a remake of sorts, updated graphics. And I'm glad I got the special edition, just because it's a cool collector's edition. It's got a nice Skull Kid figure who's, I think, up there on the shelf. Looking forward to going back through this game for sure. This is a Theater Rhythm Curtain Call. I love these music rhythm games. I love Final Fantasy music. And this one's got a lot of cool DLC, like the Bravely Default, music tracks. So more of a good thing in Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm. This is Ace Combat. This is a re-release with added amiibo support. And I'll go ahead and give an update on my amiibos after the 3DS selection here. But this is a good entry in the series. I guess hardcore fans don't really like this. But in terms of playing it on the new 3DS and seeing the new skins, the amiibos and stuff, I had a good time playing this. Still playing it actually. Good stuff. Codename Steam. Oh man, I was really looking forward to this game, Intelligent Systems, and it didn't let me down. This is super fun playing, Abraham Lincoln, John Henry, just a bunch of awesome historical figures. You've got like Marth and Ike as playable characters with amiibos. Great strategy RPG action, doing away with some of the elements of the Fire Emblem games and putting its own unique spin using Steam and awesome weapons, and this game's constantly throwing new stuff at you. I was very happy with this game. It did not disappoint. Persona Q, I haven't played this one yet, but I love Persona 3 and 4, and I'm very much looking forward to putting some time into this game for sure. Rhythm Thief. This is a game that I managed to find a copy of. I didn't know it had gone out of print, and it's so damn hard to find, but after tracking it down relentlessly for a couple of weeks, I finally found a copy. So this is like a mixture of a rhythm game and like a Professor Layton game. So count me in. I love the visual novel Professor Layton game series genre. Professor Layton, Phoenix Wright. I love all that stuff. So this is a great combination of rhythm and those type of games. Finally, we have Fantasy Life, and I was not prepared for how much I was into this game. I thought it would be a good game. Nowhere near did I think I'd be sinking over 100 hours into this, maxing out all the classes and just having a blast with this game. The storyline is not that deep. It's just the quality gameplay. Level 5 are the masters of the genre, and this game is just charming to the core. A lot of fun with this one. Ending off Nintendo, I did get my Super Smash Bros. CD in the mail. You got this by purchasing Smash Bros. On the 3DS and Wii U and then sending it in on Club Nintendo, and they sent you this. And speaking of amiibos, I finally found a villager, so that now makes a complete set so far of amiibos, all US. Really happy to have this completed set. I was able to find most of them in stores. The only two that I had to buy off eBay was Villager and Meta Knight. I had the opportunity to pre-order Meta Knight, and I had it on Best Buy all logged in. I didn't have my debit card on me, so I'm like, I was lazy. I was like, I'll wait 15 minutes. When I go upstairs, I'll get my credit card and do it. I literally waited that 15 minutes and went back to order it, and it was gone. So I kicked myself in the ass for that. So the amiibos are complete, and I think once I finish up this next wave with Robin and Lucina and Pac-Man, Wario, whatever, I think I'm done. It's just too stressful. It's very difficult to collect and find them in stores, so I think I'm done after this. But that's the amiibo update. On to the PlayStation Vita. Lots of pickups for the Vita. First up is Tales of Hearts R. This was a GameStop exclusive, another game in the Tales series. I enjoyed this one quite a lot. Not as strong as some of the other entries in the series, but still a very fun game. Sengan Kakura Shinobi Versus. This is a really cool fighting game, kind of like Dynasty Warriors type. Really strong emphasis on anime girls and their assets. Almost pervertedly so. But, I'm a fiend for this kind of shit, and I love these special editions on the Vita. Really nice stuff, and this is actually a decent game too. A lot of fun to play, good gameplay, and a nice presentation. This is the Firefly Diaries. These next couple of games were exclusive to the NIS website, and I believe they sold out. You have to go on there and just pre-order them. They're not available anywhere else. I think this was made digitally, but I'm not sure. This is a great little special edition. The game is pretty frustrating, but definitely unique and a very nothing else like it really in terms of like the puzzle solving and the touchscreen elements and the atmosphere. So a really good game. Once again, another NIS store exclusive. This is Criminal Girls. This is a really cool game. You play as a bunch of girls trying to get out of hell. The banter back and forth between the different girls is the highlight of the game for me. The battle system is really standard turn-based RPG stuff, but it's the presentation and characterization that I enjoy in this game. Here we have Danganronpa 2, and I'm going to have to go back and get the first limited edition of this game because the first game just totally blew me away. I wasn't prepared for how much I was going to enjoy it. So I made sure that I got the special edition for the second one. I really need to go back and get the first one. It's getting pretty pricey, but I love this. I love Danganronpa 1 and 2 so much that I just have to have the limited edition for the first one. These are excellent visual novels. Some of the best on the Vita for sure. Alright guys, I forgot to film my end sequence here. That's why my lights aren't set up. So I just wanted to thank you guys for sticking around. If you made it all the way through, you're the reason that I'm doing these videos, to talk and share things with you guys. And I'd love to hear what you've picked up recently. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so I couldn't squeeze everything in, but that's a good chunk of what I've picked up recently. Thank you guys for watching. As always, Games of War is absolutely nothing without you.